Hi crafters, welcome to the Roost. Today we're going to be working on a embossed foil technique that I saw in Split Coast Stampers. And it's really fun. This card is pretty much exactly like the one shown on Split Coast. It uses the Wilderness Awaits doe and fawn and then the mountains on the background, and they are heat embossed in gold, and then it's dry embossed with the woodland embossing folder, and then you go back and rub your Versamark over the trees to get these fun different colors, doing it with some other embossing powders. So it's kind of a double technique using both heat embossing and dry embossing. So for this card I'm actually going to switch it up and use the motorcycle from the One Wild Ride, just to do something different. And we're going to start out, you're going to take your Stays On pad and actually use it as direct to paper. Now this is a 2.5 by 3.5 piece of the silver foil. You could use any color foil or even tin foil if you wanted, wrapped around a piece of cardstock. Now I've just gone and swiped over here. I've left this set so that it's dry and we can move right on, but just swipe across it to kind of to tone down the shininess and to give a little bit more depth to your embossed piece when you're done. Now for this one we're going to do the motorcycle in silver, and we're going to go ahead and start with the Versamark. And some of my embossing powders might not be the same colors that are available right now, just because embossing powders go a long ways. So I have I've had some for a long time. Like this sterling silver may not be the exact same shade that's available, but there is still a silver. So then we're going to go ahead and layer on our embossing powder. Now I'm going to do two different I'm going to do one motorcycle in silver and one in black, just to show you that you can play with this technique and mix and match your embossing powders. You can use different embossing folders. It's just a lot of fun ways you can create a shiny foil accent for your cards. Now do remember you need to leave that dry, or you'll have some black embossing powder maybe where you don't want it. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up now. This is our motorcycle again from the One Wild Ride. And this is some black embossing powder. One other quick tip, when you're working with embossing powder, it's always a good idea to have a little brush on hand. And then there really isn't much here, but you can just go around and, you know, if you get embossing powder where you don't want it, before you heat it you can brush it off. Now when you're heat embossing, your foil is going to curl a bit, but not to worry, it'll be fine. So once you finish the heat embossing, you're going to go ahead and put it in the woodland folder to do your dry embossing. And you do want to make sure that the words, the Sizzix words, are facing up when you put it in the folder, and that the your piece is going down, because so the branches go up. Unless of course you want the branches to go down and then be like a weeping birch tree. And then you can just go ahead and layer those in there. You know, if you want the handlebars to be in the spot where the trees aren't, go ahead and center it, you know, however you think you would like it, so that it's the part that you want visible is more visible. With the deer, if you do the deer, you do want to make sure that the little fawn's head is maybe, you know, not behind a tree. So I'm going to go ahead and run this through the Big Shot. So I've run this through the Big Shot, and now we've got the trees embossed on here. So you can see where the motorcycle is kind of behind the trees. Now for our next step, we're just going to go back and take our Versamark ink pad, and we're going to do the direct to paper again. And looks like my paper did rip in the, that's okay, it'll be fine. all things work out. So now we're going to take the gold. Sometimes the dry embossing on this heavier paper will crack the paper. So there you can see we've got you know, the gold embossing powder on here. Now I don't want it maybe hit so much on my motorcycle there, so I'm going to give that a little brush off. Maybe a little bit right there. I'm going to do the same thing with my silver one. I'm just going to kind of go across it so it hits. I'm wanting it to hit mostly the trees. And again, it's better if you have a little bit less maybe when you're doing this, and then you can go back and do it again if you want more, if that makes sense. So here is our piece after we've done the gold. Now my next step is going to be some copper. Now I really like this new copper embossing powder. I hope it stays around for a long, long time because I love the coppery color. So you're just going to go back, and if you kind of want to do like one color on one side of the trees, you know, hit it one direction on the one side. You can also do around the edges if you want your piece to look kind of framed. We'll go back and do this one. Like I said, the edges. You could choose to do that with, you know, any of the colors that you wanted. Now just a tip, when you are heat embossing these, you might want to clip them onto some, you know, like something, or set them down when you're heat embossing. They're such tiny pieces, and I don't know if it's because it's foil, it maybe is a little worse too, but very easy to burn your fingers. Just a little FYI there from someone who just burnt their fingers. Now once you have all of the heat embossing the way you want it, if you want to tone down a little bit of the shine, you can take your Stays-On pad again, and it's a good idea to kind of rub your hands over to make sure that all of the embossing powder has truly been heated. Also, when you're in between your layers with your Versamark, you really want to make sure that you have all the powder melted, or you will have powder stuck into your Versamark pad. So you can see, you know, it's kind of taking some of that black in the tree areas. Just another layer of detail in here. And it kind of tones down a little bit of the shine, because it does almost get a little too much sometimes, depending on how much you get on. And now if you want, you could also go around and do the edges again if you wanted a little bit darker look. I kind of like the coppery, but you could go ahead and do the black too to make it stand out. I think I'm really liking the black one. So then we're going to layer this onto you know, whatever color you choose. So now just to show you the difference, I've created, I've done these in two different sizes. So this one is an 1/8 inch bigger, and this one is a 1/4 inch bigger. So you can see kind of the effect that your matting also has on your piece. And then just for a little added interest, I've taken some strips of designer series paper and just to kind of give it an extra, I don't know, frame, I guess you'd say, around. And then this is actually another piece of Tip Top Taupe, I believe. Just to kind of set it off from the darker background a little bit. Just to change things up a little bit for this, the one with the black motorcycle, I thought I would keep the black theme going, and I'm actually going to layer this on a piece of black. But to make the this piece really pop, I decided to pull the copper out and layer it on a piece of copper. So this is a piece of 3x4 copper foil paper. And now if you had something else, so let's just punch out one of these shields. This this punch actually matches the stamp set. Maybe we can come up with something to do with that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and layer this on here. And see, that isn't going to show at all that we have punched that piece out of there. So now for this card, I am going to add this greeting to someone who's great to be around. And that is actually from the Wilderness Awaits. And then I will finish the inside like this, day after day, year after year. I think it's just a beautiful greeting for someone who's special to you. Now this one, we're going to have to add, again, a piece on the inside. But I want to add this foil piece in here. Now we're going to use the StazOn again, oops, for this foil. Looks like my StazOn pad could use a little ink. So we'll go ahead and ink that up. And I'm going to lay this on this way so that I can see exactly where I'm putting it. Not bad. A little bit light. So we're going to layer that on there. And we're going to add birthday wishes to the leader of the pack. So this is going to be a great card for one of your motorcycle enthusiast friends. And I do have a few of those. So I hope you have enjoyed this foil technique and have a lot of fun doing it. If you want to purchase any of these supplies, just go ahead and hop over to my store. I've got the address listed at the end of the video. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for stopping by.